Hey everybody, I'm Bob Avellino. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I sit on the innovation and growth team. AI will never replace live sports, but I had to say AI because I put a prop bet on Kalshi that I would say in the first 30 seconds of this presentation, so I just won $500. So good for me, right? What it has changed though is in the age of cord cutting, the way that people view this content is changing. Amazon started Thursday Night Football in 2022, and this is the fifth year that this has been going on. And the way the consumer has been interacting is basically it's younger. So the average TNF viewer is about 7 years younger than the normal broadcast. The average NBA on Prime viewer is about 8 years younger than the normal broadcast. The average median household income of a TNF Prime viewer is about $130,000 a year. And NBA, it's about $100,000 a year. That's above the median average of around $96,000. The ads are getting engaged with. So once you run an ad on Thursday Night Football, you're up to 85% more likely that that customer is going to search for your brand somewhere in the universe. We're seeing massive lifts above CPG, as well as a 500% brand engagement on retail brand searches after the very first game of TNF. In NASCAR, viewers are so attentive that you would have to run between 8 and 9 normal broadcast commercials in order to have the same impact as just one ad on Prime Video. The third point is that these people are not anywhere else. For the NBA, 56% of Prime Video viewers have not watched any competitive NBA coverage on any other network. And furthermore, Prime provides 200% incremental reach amongst those 18 to 34, which is a highly coveted demographic. And then lastly, they're tweeting about it, right? They're talking about it. These viewers, once you get into the game itself, you can't really get out of that broadcast. You can't just go and start Reacher season 3, though it's set in Maine. It's actually really, really good. I recommend you do that. But you're not just going to leave because of the commercial break, right? So they're about 8.8 times more likely to tweet about the game while they're on NFL because they're on their second screen. That being said, you're reaching a younger audience, highly affluent audience. They're sharing, they're talking. You can't reach them anywhere else. But a lot of brands are still having trouble being like, should I do it? It's expensive. Should I not do it? So let's have a couple of people up here and converse around how they ended up accomplishing some goals. So why don't we welcome Caitlin and Justin. Caitlin and Justin. Caitlin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Happy to be here. Caitlin Fundakowski. I am VP of Ecom and Digital Marketing at Chomps. So I oversee all of our e-commerce business and then kind of our full funnel media center of excellence now, which includes our execution of the media and then the measurement behind it. And I've been with the brand 7.5 years.
Awesome. Justin?
Justin Cisco. I lead independent agencies for live sports at Amazon. So a little more straightforward, but sports sales and partnerships with our friends at Tenuity and others. And 10 years at Amazon as of 2 weeks ago.
Good for you.
Yeah. Well.
Red badge?
Yeah. I'm only
male?
26 years old, so it's aged me very rapidly.
That's it. Good for you.
Easy place to work.
So as an icebreaker, I'm going to say that I'm a diehard Celtics fan, and the Knicks have been feasting on my tears for the past 2 years. Though we are going to get you in the next couple of years, I'm pretty confident on that. But Caitlin, what's your favorite sports team?
I am a Chicago native, so I cling to all the Chicago teams. The Cubs run has been fun right now, but I would say my spirit for the Chicago Bears has really been reinvigorated over the past few years. Last year was really exciting, and I think it was like the wild card game of all wild cards. It felt like the Super Bowl for Bears fans.
Might have been.
Yeah.
Might have been. I'm a Northern California kid, so the San Francisco 49ers are near and dear. Sacramento Kings have been in a death spiral for like 20 years, so that's been very, very sad as my son becomes a Lakers fan. No, I don't know. I think we're done.
No?
And Giants baseball is always great, so take a pick.
Awesome. So, Caitlin, why don't you tell us about Chomps as a company?
Yeah, so if you're not familiar, there are our new chicken sticks out in the kitchen if you want to try them. But we are a better for you snack, and within the meat snack category, really kind of changing who shops the category. So the meat snack category has historically been very male dominated, and I think what Chomps has done is we've led with real ingredients, 0 grams of sugar, and has really kind of been like that modern new spirit into the category over the past years. So I think what we've done in that, and interestingly, is our consumer leans female. So we're driving a lot of incrementality to the category. Really, I'm a perfect example of someone who didn't consume Chomps or really the meat snack category before I started the brand, but it is that busy female kind of person who's shopping for the household and needs to fill that high protein void in their day. So yeah, I would say that, and then kind of we've grown over the years since I've been with the brand, but 50,000 stores and over 22 million households. So
impressive growth.
A lot of growth over the past few years.
So female-dominated brand. What was the impetus to like try out live sports this year? Like why did Chomps go all in on live sports this year?
Yeah, I think everything we do is we put a lot of thought and strategic thought around the data. And so when we kind of started looking at high impact spots with Elisa and the Tenuity team last year, we looked at everything in market. And I think live sports, specifically the NFL, has been viewed as this co-viewing moment, and really like a full household moment is what we realized through the analysis. And I think that moment was something that we felt like we needed to be a part of. I think it's always a bet that you're taking, especially on the NFL, because you pick your matchups and you're like, you think you picked the best ones, but I think last year was like a perfect example that our third matchup ended up being the best one, and one that we thought was one of the higher risks. So I think you're definitely taking a bet, but the viewership of the NFL and TNF and what Amazon has done with Thursday nights, I think, is really unique. And for us, it felt really like the right investment because you can follow it through all the way the funnel. And we've been investing on Amazon for years, and so felt like it was the next step for us.
Yeah, it pays off on that Week 17 Seahawks Rams for the divisional championship
overtime
run.
game. Couldn't have asked for better.
Justin, are you seeing a similar POV with other brands wanting to invest in the medium, or are you seeing something a little bit different?
No, I think the Chomp story was similar to what we've seen, especially with brands that don't traditionally run in the NFL or live sports. I think over our 4 years with having Thursday Night Football, we brought 70 net new advertisers to the NFL, which was really a big deal for them. They want ad diversity. They like seeing these new partners, and because of our closed loop measurement, it's, I wouldn't say an easy sell, but everybody wants the NFL and they love live sports, and the importance of that over the last few years with kind of shifting behaviors and consumption.
Yeah.
It stands out more and more. And the fact that, especially for brands selling on and off Amazon, but really on Amazon, our ability to showcase the performance and tie that back to meaningful results and let you do unique things on the matchup as well with interactive video ads and other components like targeting. I think we've been a standout, and then our ability to grow our audience over the last 4 years, but keep the composition of our audience has been really important. And other brands like Chomps have taken note and said, if I need to reach an engaged, younger, more affluent audience that's not as reachable through linear, you guys are a standout option.
I will say too, the Amazon team sold this in for probably a 4 to 5 year lead up until we actually decided to make the move. And props to them for showing us what we could do with it. And it took, some time. We needed to make sure that it was we were at the right point in our brand journey to invest. And I feel like for us, that was shelf health, operational excellence, making sure that we could support this high impact moment
too. Enough doors that it would make sense to justify the massive reach that you're looking at.
in your defense, like the first year we came to market and
Browns versus Bengals. Yeah,
yes, there was some tough matchups, but also people looked at our estimates and said, "There's absolutely no way." I remember there was notable people in the industry that were saying, "You'll be lucky if 3-4 million people watch. No one's going to go to streaming." And this year we averaged over 15 million viewers per game. We had the highest reach on a streaming game ever with our wildcard game that reached almost 32 million people. So, I mean, the audience on Prime Video is enormous. It's bigger than broadcast. So it's
the diversity of advertisers, I feel as though, is something that really stands out to me on the broadcast as well, because it's like it's not all FinServ and auto. It's like a lot of niche brands that are coming on a lot of these broadcasts that are getting a chance to really play in the space. So we ran a couple of ads, and they worked out really, really well. They actually made like an immediate sales impact, which I'm sure that you couldn't guarantee going into this. And I'm sure that there were a lot of other things that you were measuring within these ad buys. So like, take us through maybe what your plans were around like how you were going to measure the success of running on Thursday Night Football if immediate sales were not so apparent as they are now.
Yeah, I think this is like just like icing on the cake.
But
we set KPIs in advance. I think we collaborated with the Tenuity team on how we should measure, set a few new measurement tactics in place, but I think started with brand awareness, and then I think, and from there we also add in tracking like through the journey. So when we think about, we saw 5-point awareness growth last fall, which was huge through 3 investments. Obviously we were running other things in market, but saw some huge success on that front. And then second thing that we track is like a more like lagging indicator is repeat rate and how those shoppers are valuing within our portfolio. Because I think like we've been so intentional about how we've moved media and investment up the funnel. And it was important for us to make sure that those shoppers we were bringing in were just as valuable as shoppers we've always brought in. And I think our repeat rate has held strong and actually improved since then. So excited to see that.
Awesome. And I guess, Justin, like measurement, I guess, is a very key aspect to buying a lot of these major sports placements, right? And they haven't always been available, I guess, as robust as it would be within Amazon advertising. So like, how has Amazon Marketing Cloud and the measurement stack that Amazon provides to the broadcast like change how people are viewing the game?
Yeah, I think in a couple of ways, for at least from the advertiser front. When you've been looking at traditional linear broadcasts, a lot of times categories that have the budgets and can go national and are willing to just go for reach, that's been a very successful playbook. But what we have been able to bring is much what Chomps saw is path to purchase analysis through AMC. So you can see every step in the journey. You can see your overlap between all of your media and your live sports media within AMC. You can see how many of those people saw the same or different ads across our environment in different platforms, and then see what the effectiveness was through that. And so you can actually back into the fact that when you initially run NBA or Thursday Night Football, the huge push of new to brand customers, especially in that first year to 2 years, is really impressive. I mean, we see the conversions, we can see it through AMC, and we can map it back. And then when you layer on third-party studies and omni-channel measurement, you get a full picture for somebody that's selling outside and inside the walls of Amazon. And the accountability and addressability of live sports is now unmatched because it's a huge investment.
And like those exposure audiences never go away, right? So like you're able to say, this person viewed my ad on all 3 of these games.
Correct.
And we can take that and still market to them a year later, knowing that they had been exposed to all these different ad exposures and various different tactics.
Yeah, and not to get too granular, but the fact that you can actually target audiences within a national ad and segment out an audience, then create a remarketing segment that you can then use across the rest of your media, combine all that together and see exactly what your unique exposure across each one of those are, and then tie that back to sales and see the performance and site visitation and detailed page views. It's a powerful thing. It really is.
The other thing that we were watching closely was our purchase path and like ad exposure across the journey that Justin kind of spoke to. So watching, when we combine live sports with Prime Video and display and search, live sports was popping in all of the top performing combinations. So
yeah,
something we're watching closely.
Seeing them all work in conjunction
Yes.
with each other is like harmonizes the whole campaign.
Right.
So Caitlin, let's go a level deeper into the who. Like brands on Amazon typically think of it as like a defensive channel. We want to just like cover our market share as much as possible. But this is like a super offensive play, which I think that a lot of brands are missing when it comes to Amazon, is like you can play offense on Amazon and really start gaining market share. Were you seeing that a lot of the customers that you were driving were new, as you were touching on the path to purchase earlier?
Yeah, something that we're watching closely. I mean, like in general, when we talk about it internally, like Amazon's a media company, we're using it to grow, to support our brand awareness goals. And when we look at new to brand, we pull that through the analysis where we look at top performing ad segments. We also look at what % of new to brand is within those. So also top performing segments were top performing new to brand segments. So exactly what we want to see. And I think that was like, it opening up to the NFL and being a co-viewing moment really proved to us that that's what it was. We made some assumptions on the investment, and I think we were excited to see the new to brand. And I think the brand awareness success and also tracking search on Amazon and off platform as well. Branded search is an indicator too that we watch to track that on consumers who are doing research.
And Justin, are you seeing, I guess, like brands adopting a similar POV and like viewing the NFL as more of a acquisition channel or a massive brand awareness channel? Or
Yes.
Like, what are you seeing?
Yes. No.
Would you like to expound on that answer?
I mean, I've been at Amazon a long time.
Yeah.
So one of the most challenging things we've had over that decade is what you just said. We are a media company and not just a retail media network.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything has moved the needle more than live sports in that perception change. Obviously, when we made ads available on Prime Video, that was a huge step. But from bringing new brands in and actually having people look at us as an awareness channel and something that can drive acquisition and a lot of reach, I would say that sports and TNF has become a mainstay, and that's why we've seen so many brands not just come in, but now repeat and want to grow their investment year over year.
Let's get into the innovation of the actual ads, right? These are a little bit different than your traditional ads that you would see on broadcast. You can you can actually add these to your cart. You could potentially purchase. When these came out a couple years ago, it made me think of like the dash button back in the day of like, this is really wishful thinking. Are people actually going to be like adding it to their cart and purchasing? But we've actually been seeing like 4x increase in conversions based on a lot of this creative.
Yeah.
And every single creative that I see on all of the live sports broadcasts, if they can have this enabled, I feel like they are.
Yeah.
So like, how have you seen this innovation play out on your end?
The adoption has really skyrocketed in terms of interactive video ads. So we have two components. We have interactive video ads where you can have the overlay, which Chomps used very successfully. And when we started with that, there were some different calls to action. And it was to address a couple of issues, mainly for brands that didn't sell on Amazon. We wanted to be able to send notifications to customers who were logged in, because it's all Prime members. And through that, we realized that there's an opportunity to really collapse the funnel. And so this last year, we introduced add to cart. So you could have numerous CTAs, and depending on what you were actually doing with the ad, you could have it sent directly to somebody's registered number, cell phone, or directly to their registered email. On top of that, within a actual national spot, you can target and segment. So all the trillions of data points that Amazon has, you can create segments. So if you wanted to find somebody in market for Chomps, that would segment out that particular audience, and if they fell into that bucket, they could receive a different creative or the same creative with a different interactive component. And if you were trying to reach somebody higher up the funnel, it could be an awareness play. If you're really trying to find somebody in market, it could be that add to cart moment. And so because of that, and it's all laying on top of all of our data and insights, you have an authenticated audience. You have the ability to actually transact with them on the screen. But I think the most important part is that when we run studies, we know that these ads are more memorable, and they do increase by at least 23% effectiveness over a standard ad that you might be running, just simply having interactive video ad on the screen.
So this isn't just like geo-targeting holdout. This is like actual purchase intent.
Correct.
Did I buy Chomps, earlier, and we want them to add it to cart again by seeing our ad? Have they never bought it before, but we know that they're shopping competitors? Have they never shopped the category before? Every single one of these shoppers would get a different type of message on their own Thursday Night Football.
Theoretically. And we are certainly working on more use of, shout out to Jeff previous, but AI to make those interactive video ads, the CTAs, more dynamic in real time.
Yeah.
And something that we hope to be able to roll out.
Awesome. I have a business question for you, Caitlin. So I also worked at Amazon. I worked for Amazon 9 years before coming over to Tenuity like 4 years ago. And as Amazon ads were growing, Amazon is sometimes siloed in these brands where it's really hard for somebody who controls the Amazon budget to justify a budget of this magnitude to, sometimes it has to go all the way up to the CEO in order to have this like conversation. So I would love to understand like how you educated your organization in order to say that this is the right investment, and like what type of pointers might you have for any brand out there who might want to climb that ladder and go for a big swing like this?
Yeah, I think it's two-pronged. I mean, I mentioned earlier that Amazon's a media company, and I've been planting that seed since I started at Chomps, and it's I feel like the ad offerings have continued to grow as we've continued to grow. So we've just adopted that test and learn and scale mentality with Amazon. I think that's been great. It's kind of what we, how we went into our investment with Thursday Night Football last year. So I think selling is that, and then explaining the high impact of live sports and the adoption that Amazon has taken with it. I think showing that the audience is more and more engaged every year, 7 years younger. I think all that was used as a data point, and then in combination with the measurement. I mean, the data you get is unmatched to any other high impact. So I think that's kind of what sold it internally. That and the NFL in general right now is like the Taylor Swift effect. And it's just I think once you tell the story with all these things combined, it's like, can we invest more? So.
And Justin, you've been at Amazon ads for 10 years too. So it's just like, how have you seen brands kind of go from Amazon's a conversion mechanism to Amazon as this massive brand building platform? Because you've been in all different types of roles that have sort of spanned everything, and and the POV is rapidly changing, even coming out of the upfront a couple days ago.
I feel like we've hit escape velocity on the sports conversation. The last few years, it has been a steady build, and this is a great use case because it took a long time to get over the hurdle, because it's a huge investment. But for me, looking at all the sports that we've added gave us a lot more legitimacy of not just a one-stop shop for NFL, but now we have NBA and NASCAR and golf and women's basketball, women's soccer. All of those things combined give a lot of avenues, some more affordable than Thursday Night Football, for advertisers to come in and see the power of live sports and see how it can transform their business. And so
Duke basketball now.
And Duke basketball is, in case you didn't know that.
Only thing more hated than Celtics basketball around here is probably Duke basketball, but anyway.
Go straight for the polarizing.
You really just go polarizing.
That's right. Caitlin Clark will be on WNBA tonight, so our kickoff
everybody
game.
Can get your big Iowa fans.
Yes.
Tune in.
Yeah.
Iowa alum.
All right, I got one more question, I guess. Caitlin, what's next? I think this was obviously a very successful execution for live sports. What does Chomps have in mind moving forward?
Yeah, I think we're participating in the upfront, is what I'll say.
We are actively negotiating with Justin on stage after this.
We are hoping to have bigger and better spots than we did last year, and more to come on that front. But I think in general, our first season was a huge success. So I think the reinvestment story was there, and hopefully we'll continue to increase our investment year over year as the brand grows is how we're kind of thinking about it. I think the audience-based creative is really interesting. We tested like deals last year. One was our regular price product, and then one of our spots happened to run while our Black Friday deal was live. So thinking about strategy there, but I think audience-based creative and what we have coming is an exciting opportunity for us too within live sports.
Interesting. And then Justin, I guess coming out of the upfront, which not everybody was at, what would you feel as though are things that they would want to know that Amazon's coming out with this year?
Oh boy, I'm gonna get tackled from the Amazon handlers. Well, I would say we're maturing as a sports business. So last year we introduced NASCAR and NBA at the same time, which was pretty stressful. But going into our second year, I think the use of the studio space, so if you haven't ever tuned into NBA on Prime, we have this state-of-the-art studio that's pretty incredible. Like the floor is an LED, and there's like 2,300 LED screens inside the studio, so you can kind of transform it into anything you want. With WNBA coming and NBA and Duke, and the use of that, I think is going to be really interesting in terms of how do we weave that into not even just sports, but more of what we're trying to do with tent poles. And then I just think the expansion. I mean, we have a lot of aspirations as a group, as you saw the Duke deal that we did with their college basketball team. So from the content side, I'm really excited. And then I think we are trying to do a better job with using our DSP for live sports optimization. So if you're looking for like open internet deals and want to pair that with our premium sports, we're trying to do a better job of creating a very bespoke DSP that can actually spend your money in the correct way to enter into live sports. And then lastly, I'd say we have some AI tools for creative that can help people with creative iterations and different things like that make it so that if you need different versions of creative or in slates and you want to actually use our targeting within live sports, that's all going to be something that you can access.
Awesome. Well, we have 1 minute left. Do you want to leak the Thursday Night Football schedule, or
you want me to read it? No, I have a call tonight at 5, so we're going to talk about it.
All right, fine. We can't.
Check out my Twitter feed.
Caitlin, Justin, thank you so much for coming, and thanks so much for talking about this.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening. Hopefully it was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.
Elizabeth.